Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Kelvin here. A few months ago, I made a Syfe portfolio video saying, yes, I know that Syfe portfolios are super confusing because Syfe be like, portfolios everywhere. Guess what? Syfe came up with more portfolios. And this time, it's based on 5 different themes. I can imagine Syfe CEO Aurora in a meeting and be like, guys, let's think of ways to make Syfe better. Make more portfolios, improve Syfe's algorithm, reduce the fees. Just a joke guys, more portfolios means that you now have more ways to what big. I went through all 5 of Syfe's new portfolios and I find them pretty good. Especially to some of you guys who prefer to take higher risk in investing but prefer to use ROBOADVISORS to invest. So in this video, I will intro the 5 new thematic portfolios to you. What are the purpose for each of them? I will also show you what are their holdings, what's their past performance, and when should you choose their portfolio. But before I start, I would greatly appreciate it if you can help to smash the like button because it will help out with the channel a lot. In return, I will show you some cute authors. Alright, let's not waste any time and let's start right now. The first portfolio is ESG and Clean Energy. Basically, the theme of this portfolio is to invest in socially responsible companies and also companies that focus on clean energy. Just in case you're blah and don't know what is ESG, let me explain. E stands for environment, like companies that are trying to protect our environment. For example, reducing carbon emissions, reducing air and water pollution, biodiversity, etc. You know, not like some stupid companies that only care about themselves. Then the S stands for social. So it's about companies that have good social practices like data protection and privacy, gender and diversity, human rights, etc. Finally, G stands for governance, which is about having good standards for running a company like board composition, free from bribery and corruption, and not like some companies that force their employees to work 80 hours a week without OT pay all year long, like some companies I know. Currently, 51% of the portfolio consists of ESG ETFs that have holdings globally. Then the other half are ETFs that focus on clean energy and water sustainability. If you look at their ETFs, I'm sure that you will know what are most of these ETFs. You'll be like, I don't even know who you are, because I had the same reaction. But if you look at their holdings, you will see familiar names like Alibaba, Samsung, Nestle, which makes my favorite Cocoa Crunch, the fruit company Apple, Microsoft, and so on. So how did this portfolio perform? Even though Syfe has just launched this portfolio, Syfe has backtested this portfolio. We can see that this portfolio has been going sideways from 2008 to 2017, then only started to go to the moon after 2017. If we start from 2008, the annualized return is around 10.7%. Syfe gave this portfolio a 4 out of 5 risk rating, which is still alright. Going forward, I feel that this portfolio has a chance to do well in the future, especially when more and more companies are starting to care about the environment and more companies are treating people like real human beings. Okay, the second portfolio is Disruptive Technology. This portfolio invests in companies that can disrupt the way we do things in the future. Stuff like robots, AI, cloud computing, and so on. Our world is constantly evolving, right? Like last time, we travel using horses and carriages. Not we, of course. People before us travel with that . But now, everyone is using cars to travel. Then, last time, people before us used pigeon to deliver messages. Now, we use email or even Twitter to pump up crypto prices, like that Elon Musk. Let me show you a more recent example. These are the top 10 companies for the S&P 500 in 1980. You will notice that almost all of them are oil companies like Exxon, Standard Oil of Indiana, Shell, Mobil. Fast forward to now, you will see that most of all the top holdings are tech companies. Add to the fact that Tesla is trying to accelerate the world's transition to clean energy, which is disrupting all of these oil companies. So, as you can see, by investing in disruptive technology, you are basically investing in the future. Currently, Syfe's disruptive technology portfolio is spread evenly among all the disruptive technology ETFs. We have robotics and AI, internet technology ETFs, fintech, video game and esports. Yes, that's something you can invest in right now. Cloud computing, new IPO companies, and cybersecurity. And if you look at the top holdings, you will see familiar names like Nvidia, Nintendo, ABB Limited, Alibaba, Shopify, Palantir, Square, and yes, Tesla. If we check the backtested performance, this portfolio gave about 41% annualized return, which is huge. But take note that past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. The risk rating on this portfolio is the highest at 5 out of 5. Even though the idea of investing in disruptive technology sounds very sexy, you have to be very careful because sometimes these companies are still in the growth stage. They can still fail easily. Even Syfe wants that investors should have a well-diversified portfolio before investing in this portfolio. But luckily, the ETFs in this portfolio are spread evenly. That makes this risk a little more diversified. Third portfolio in this list is healthcare innovation. As you can guess from the name, this portfolio invests in healthcare-related companies. Not only that, it also has a bit of disruptive element in it, like the previous portfolio. I'm sure you have noticed it also. The healthcare is becoming more and more advanced now. If you have fever or cough in the 1700s, oh, you bye liao. But now, if you have fever, just go Guardian, buy Panadol, and you are cured almost immediately. Or the pandemic, if you are infected with smallpox in the past, oh, you have 1 in 3 chance that you will bye also. But now, because of science, smallpox don't really exist now. And going forward, I'm also pretty sure that terrible illnesses like cancer and dementia will be cured too. Which brings us back to Syfe's healthcare innovation portfolio. If we check the ETF, we have the healthcare ETF, which is basically all the big healthcare companies, biotech, medical devices, healthcare equipment, healthcare providers, and the innovative ARC Genomic ETF. And if we check the holdings, we will see familiar names like Johnson & Johnson, which makes the strawberry shampoo, which I like, Pfizer and Moderna, which produces the vaccine, Illumina, United Health, Teladoc, and so on. Let's check out the backtested performance. This portfolio gave around 47% annualized returns, which is seriously quite impressive. And Syfe gave this portfolio 4 out of 5 risk rating. Now, the issue with healthcare companies is that it requires a very long-term view to see any returns, because you can't just come up with a cure for stuff like cancer, like tomorrow. It requires years or even decades of trials and error before we can see any result. On top of that, the failure rate of treatment is very high. On average, only 1 in 10 drugs are approved for use. That's why Syfe aims to reduce the risk with this healthcare innovation portfolio. Personally, I'm quite certain a lot of illnesses will be cured in my lifetime, because technology is becoming better and better. So if you think the same, then this portfolio is good to invest in. Fourth portfolio, China growth. As you might have guessed, this portfolio invests in China companies. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that just 40 years ago, China was considered a third world country, but now China is the second largest economy in the world in terms of GDP. Even Charlie Munger has said that the world's strongest companies are in China, not America. In fact, there are also predictions that China will overtake US by 2028. So it seems like China has really powered level itself, Syfe has shared some stats too. Here, we can see that there are 940 million internet users in China. In it, 749 million users shop online. We can also see that more than 80% of users in China use mobile payment. No other countries is even close. And China has the most numbers of smartphone and internet users. World Data Bank estimates that consumption accounts for 73% of GDP for many countries, but China is only at 54.3%, which means that there's still a lot of room for China to grow. So right now, even though there are crackdowns everywhere on China companies, causing their stock to drop a lot, like Tencent dropped by almost 40% from its peak, officially making it 6 cents now. There are actually reasons for the crackdown. For example, Tencent and Alibaba were fined for their monopolistic behavior. ByteDance was ordered to fix their vulnerabilities. Tutoring companies asked to become non-profit organizations. All of these crackdowns are actually a good thing, because it means that the government wants everyone to play by the rules, which in turn will increase competition, incentivize innovation, and raise security for their apps. The China Growth portfolio has a total of 6 ETFs. Basically, it covers consumer discretionary, communication services, and information technology. And if you check the holdings, you can see familiar companies like Alibaba, Tencent, Meituan, Baidu, Neo. If we check the backtested performance, this portfolio gave an annualized return of 19%, which is not bad at all. Syfe gave this portfolio 4 out of 5 risk rating, which means it is still a fairly risky portfolio. Personally, I feel that investing in China companies is not that straightforward. First, I don't have the knowledge or the skill to invest in China companies. Yes, in short, I'm a noob lah. Second, China companies work very differently compared to US companies because of, the government. So, if I were to ever invest in China companies, it would definitely be through ETFs, or even better, through a robo-advisor like this portfolio. So, if you want to take advantage of China's future growth while not wanting to research or trying to pick the right stocks, then this portfolio is for you. Alright, the fifth portfolio is global income. This portfolio is a little different when compared to all the other portfolios, because while all the rest are about growth and future and disruption, this portfolio is about steady bumpy returns. Syfe is projecting the dividend yield to be around 4.25% this year. If we check the ETFs, we can see that 32% are government bonds, which is very stable, like our Singapore savings bond. you don't expect the government to go bankrupt unless you are in Zimbabwe or Sudan where the inflation rate looks like it's trying to beat Dogecoin. Then among it, you will see that there are 3 ETFs which have EM, which means it's an emerging market bond. Based on data, it shows that emerging market bonds have similar or even better yield than normal US bonds, but at the same time have similar default rates compared to developed market bonds. If we take a look at backtested performance, we can see that this portfolio gave around 4.5% annualized returns, which is quite good considering that this is an income portfolio. The risk rating for this portfolio is the lowest among this list, at 3 out of 5 risk rating. So when should you invest in this portfolio? This portfolio is good if you like passive income and you like to grow your money slow and steady, and you don't like to see your portfolio dropping by 30% a day and get heart attacks. No one likes heart attacks. This portfolio is also good for you if you want to diversify your portfolio out of Singapore, because the top holdings of this portfolio are in US, Indonesia, China, Brazil and Mexico. So those were the 5 new portfolios. As for the fees, it's exactly the same as all the other portfolios. 0.65% if your total invested is below 20k with a free access to their wealth expert in the first month. 0.5% above 20k with access to their wealth expert. 0.4% if you invested 100k with a dedicated expert. Or if you are a Saudi prince and invested 500k and above, you will only need to pay 0.35% and have access to all kinds of benefits. All of their portfolios are constantly monitored and rebalanced twice a year, and they will find ways to improve the portfolios by adding new ETFs to it whenever possible. So how should you use this portfolio? It's really up to you, but Syfe recommends using a core satellite strategy. Basically, here's how it works. You allocate 70 to 90% of your investments to stable portfolios like Core Growth, Equity 100, which gave like 14.7% annualized returns. Then you can YOLO, invest the remaining amount into what they call satellite portfolios, which are much more riskier but have the potential to give much higher returns, like the ESG and Clean Energy portfolio, Disruptive Tech portfolio, and so on, which have the potential to give 40 to 50% annualized returns. This way, you will benefit from the steady PP returns from the core portfolio, while at the same time, possibly achieve a much higher returns from the satellite portfolio. So that was a quick intro about Syfe's 5 new portfolios. What do you think? Will you be investing in them? If you are interested to sign up to Syfe, you can use my link down below. And that's all for today. Like, share and subscribe as I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.